officially welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. I'll call it a meeting because I really would like a lot of input from you. This is how we're doing Rosh Hashanah at home, how we're making it joyous and meaningful. And we're going to do a combination of online, in person, things to do at home. And I just want to start first of all with a kol hakavod, congratulations. If you're here, it means at the very least you're interested in doing something for this holiday. So round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. Okay, and so I'll give you our official introduction. And in order to do that, I get to do my favorite thing in the world, which is share my screen. Oh, is that just happens to be my grandchildren on the screen? How did that get there?
Ah, so too cute.
Oh God,
love them.
Look at that baby and the little one. Oh.
Yes, they are very sweet together, and it's really
nice.
So this is what we're going to do today. We really have we're hoping to figure out how we can modify the Rosh Hashanah experience, because so many of us are, well, not doing Rosh Hashanah the way we usually do it, and we need to acknowledge that. And because we are all so desperate to connect with other people. I know I am. Virtual is great. I love seeing you all on the screen. This is fantastic, but I do really miss some personal connection. So how are we going to do that? And I want to say also that I'm giving you permission to adapt to anything to your needs. You can age up anything. You can age down anything. You could create new traditions. You don't have to do it all. I think it's really important to say that right up front, because a lot of us are just like, I'm going to make this holiday just like any other holiday, and we know it isn't. Don't worry, all the resources will be available to you afterwards. You can have all my notes. Anything that works for you will work for me. So the webinar is in 3 parts. We're going to talk about what you can do leading up to the holidays to get kids, grandkids excited. Then we're going to talk about different ways to connect with our family and friends, and we're going to come up with some ways that are safe even when we are physically distanced, just so that we can have a little personal connection. And lastly, what we're going to do when or if, I know that our synagogue is all virtual, so what do you do at home all day? No one is going to sit in front of their screen all day, especially with young children, and watch a service. So how can you make this holiday really special for them? And again, some things are going to be appropriate for online, some things are going to be appropriate in person. And I really do want to have time in each of the sections for you to share your ideas. I will be doing some things online and some things off of our PowerPoint, so I won't be doing that the whole time, but just for the first couple of slides. I wanted to talk a little bit about the themes of the holiday, and as we're discussing them, I'd like to really think about what is it that is important to you, right? So none of this is, nothing that I say is really going to matter unless you find it important. But these are the general themes of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as well. So it is the birthday of the world. It's the new year. We talk about new beginnings and setting goals for the future. We think about new perspectives, new ways to look at things. We're going to incorporate that into some of our activities. Introspection. What does that mean to a child? What does that mean to us as adults? Friendship, apologies, and forgiveness. These are all different parts of the holiday. And of course, wishing each other well and having empathy for one another. And that's just a huge, big deal these days, because we know we're all going through difficult times, and sometimes the world outside our homes and even inside our homes can be a little bit crazy. So I just want us to really think about how we are sharing our compassion and giving other people permission to do what they need to do as well. So a quick word of inspiration about Rosh Hashanah. We talk about Rosh Hashanah as the birthday of the world. Now, I thought that the birthday of the world meant that, like, the day God said, let there be light, and there was some form out of the chaos, is the birthday of the world. But no, I was wrong. The birthday of the world is on the 6th day after God created all the animals and people. And I just wanted to read this quote from the Torah as a real like kind of jump off point for us. And God said, "Let us make humans in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. So I'm just curious what that makes you think about. I know for me, I very rarely used to think about Rosh Hashanah like that from creation. So if you'd like to make a comment, I'd be delighted to have you share some of your thoughts if you would like to unmute and share something.
I know at AJ, we used to make it a really big deal and have a special program for the kids on Rosh Hashanah with a birthday cake and a whole, issue about how it was the birthday of the world, to make the kids feel like they were part of something bigger, than themselves. And then, kind of getting them ready for the whole Genesis and we had special songs and stuff. Been a long time. I was
So this is something that I think is done at a lot of shuls. And I wanted to read the actual text because to me the text is so profound. How God created everything. I left some of the parts out, as you may imagine. How God gave every tree with its seed to us to eat, and that it's really our job to take care of the earth, because if we don't do it, who will? And I know that sometimes in these birthday parties, and we'll talk about a little bit that later, it's so much focused on the child and the party and the cupcake that we lose sight of that it's really about the world. And so we are going to talk about that a little bit later on, but I'm just, when you read this text, or when I read the text, I don't know about you, I think about what a huge responsibility it is. And that every year it's an opportunity for me to think about how I'm renewing that responsibility to the world and to all of its inhabitants in a very different way. So now we're up to the official part 1. I really want to think about, what do you want your children or grandchildren to experience from this holiday? What's important to you that you want them to come away with, right? Because this is really about that. It's somewhat about us too, of course, as adults, but really the purpose of this tonight is, what are we hoping to pass down l'dor vador, from generation to generation? So what are you hoping they come away with? And what are the components of your celebration going to be? Are you doing everything online? Are you doing a hybrid? Are you doing some things online and some things in person? Are you only doing something in person? In the past, for many of us, the holiday was the dinner, the synagogue, seeing everyone you haven't seen in a long time. And we have to really radically change our thinking about what that is.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to manage people's expectations. And your own too. Like, I can't do everything there is. I can't give my child, my grandchildren, my brothers, my sisters, I can't give everybody the ultimate experience, right? What is it that I'm saying that we can do, I can do, and what I can't do? And to be honest with yourself and make time for yourself. After all, it really is your holiday too. And I hereby give you permission to like sort of disappear and take a bubble bath or do whatever you have to do so that you get enjoyment out of the holiday too. And even leading up to the holiday, you can't do it one day? Okay, I have officially given everyone permission. So pick and choose what's important to you and focus on those like activities and traditions that really mean a lot to you. So I'll give you some examples. And again, these can be aged up, down, in between. The first thing is when we think about imagery, right? I want my children, my grandchildren to know what the imagery of the holiday is. Now, it happens that my granddaughter, the 2-year-old, is, my test case for everything I do. And she does spend quite a bit of time at my home. I am very fortunate that way. And so this is when she comes for Bubby Camp, Fridays or Bubby Camp. This is what like she might see on the table, right? Here's a collection of images and things to explore and touch and feel. Now she's 2, so this is aimed for a 2-year-old. But what are the objects on this table that you might be able to age up? What's important to you? What ritual objects are important to you? This is a game of matching that I made in like 2 seconds, as you can see. And it's just, she loves this. She plays it over and over again. Of course, like I said, she is 2, but what are the ways that we can help children understand what these ritual objects are? How can they begin to recognize them? Another thing that many of us do on the holidays or used to is to send Rosh Hashanah cards. Remember those? And without getting political, because I don't really mean to do that, it's like really nice to actually mail a letter too. So many of us just sort of forget that you can put things in the mail. And how fun is that for children to open and unfold? Yeah. And
for now we can, yeah.
Yeah, for now we can. For now, let's take advantage while we can.
Today and tomorrow,
yeah.
We can wake up the kids now and tell them to send.
So the other thing is that if you're not going to do a real mail card, you could do a video card. And I created a frame that we have later decorated. We're working on that. And this is, sorry, you're going to see some pictures of my granddaughter. And, just a frame that you can do like with your family and hold it up and make a silly video. We just love making funny faces. That's one of the things that we do quite a bit. And so to make a frame, I happen to have a lot of Amazon boxes at my house since I don't go anywhere and everything comes to me. And I make all kinds of things out of these boxes. This is what we're going to be doing this week. I have a mailbox that we have. Oh, wait, you're not going to be able to see this. So hold on a second. Well, as soon as I stop sharing this, I will take off my virtual background and I'll show you my fun and festive mailbox that we're also decorating. And the shofar is a pretty big deal. So how can we explore that with children? So, and this is a really interesting thing for kids of all ages. The shofar has to come from an animal that grows a hollow horn. Now it does have like crud in it that has to come out, but the basic horn is hollow. And it has to be a kosher animal, though it's not usually an animal that's been killed by, a ritual slaughter to eat, because usually we want a bigger horn. And so a much older animal is used. And it's actually not so easy for people to find. By the way, if you want any of these pictures, I can also send you the PowerPoint. So I'm really big on pictures. So ram, any kosher animal, certainly a ram or a goat is very popular. This other one with the gorgeous stripe across his nose and the big curly ears, I'm sure, horns, I'm sure you've seen that in synagogue, right? That's like that big, like deep sounding. It is from an animal called a kudu, and it is a kind of antelope. And antelopes are one of the animals that we can make a shofar from, and those are like those big curly things. But what we don't do is make anything from a cow or bull, because it's reminiscent of the golden calf that was made in the desert, the idol. So no cows. And guess what? There are people who are actually putting a mask at the end of their shofar this year because they are concerned about spreading droplets that way. So, yeah. So, right. So I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to like take off my background. Oh, but before I take off my background, I'm going to show you some of my other backgrounds. If you're on Zoom, I'm very big at Zoom backgrounds. And anyone who knows me knows I like to tell stories. And if you're telling stories to your grandchildren, for example, I recently told the story of the two brothers, and I used all virtual backgrounds to tell the story. They lived on a farm and they gathered for Shabbat, and here was the farm and the pathways, and here they are, um, you know, putting aside some wheat. So I know that some people use it, you know, you use the beach one that comes with your computer, but it's really very easy to add images, and it's a really fun way of doing this with kids. If they're younger, you might have one type of picture. If they're older, you might have a series of photos and then like switch it and say, you know, what's missing or what's different. Obviously, these are two very different pictures, but okay. This is my crazy, wild, and wacky room. I have all kinds of props and toys everywhere. And here is my mailbox that has not yet been decorated. But, you know, this box already came with a slot in it. So perfect. We're going to decorate it and do that.
So I know that one year the kids always try to blow the shofar. And of course, it's so hard to blow a real shofar. So I got a toy one. So they try the regular, and then I give them the toy one, which of course they can make all of the blasts, you know, that they want. And that's really been a fun thing for them to do.
So I should have brought my shofar with me. Actually, I can teach anyone how to blow a shofar. It's not as difficult as it sounds. All you really have to be able to do is purse your lips, and if you can sort of make that noise and force air into a very small part of your, you can do it. Years ago, pre-COVID, I used to like pass my shofar around, and then we would like wash it out and dip it in alcohol and put like, you know, like really wash it out very well. But I could get kids from age 3 to blow the shofar. So
yeah, we haven't had
send
that.
all the kids my way.
We just gave my grandson my husband's old coronet, and he picked it up, and he can play it really well. So maybe we can just substitute for the time being the coronet for a shofar.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
And he blew it right away. He had the technique.
Yeah.
Great.
So some of our other, you know, some of the other imagery, of course, apples, honey. It's great to do apple tasting, honey tasting, comparing caramel apples, baking, you know, share recipe cards, or look, even if we are, you know, if you're a very good baker, for example, maybe instead of making one gigantic honey cake, you can make lots of little ones and give them out to family and friends. And if you're doing that, send one my way, because baking is not my forte. So another thing I'd love people to consider is, how do you create a sacred space in your home? And this is also part of the preparation. You know, mostly every day we are doing work. We are sitting on a sofa, eating chips. That would be me. You know, we're in our most comfortable clothes. I'm not saying you should wear uncomfortable clothes, but how can we change the space of this everyday world into something really special for Rosh Hashanah? Some of it could have to do with your ritual objects. I know I've started making a tablecloth. It's unfortunately, it's not quite ready to show you, and it's a little wet, so I didn't want to bring it up. I bought a very inexpensive tablecloth, white tablecloth, and then I bought some very expensive stencils and some acrylic paints. And we are, you know, I have to very carefully like tape out the area. But my granddaughter is having a blast doing that. And when we get to the holiday, we will have a tablecloth that we have created together. Now that's a big thing, but you know, certainly placemats would be a fantastic thing to do. And you can make them with pomegranates dipped in grape juice. You could do apples also dipped in grape juice. I know a lot of people make prints with food. I'm all about that, as long as the food isn't wasted, because I that's like a personal thing. I can't really waste food. So that's an idea. And also to think about, what tradition do you love? What is that you just absolutely love that you want to bring into this new celebration? Do you have a tradition that you currently, think about from either growing up or something you want to create or alter? But like what is it that says Rosh Hashanah to you? That's actually a question that I'm asking you guys.
One thing I haven't done in a long time, just because it didn't work out with what I did with friends on the second, it's the second day for Tashlich.
Ah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. We are doing a family Tashlich program.
Is it
And
the first
we'll be talking about Tashlich, but that's a beautiful thing, is this idea of throwing your mistakes, your whoops, anything that makes you say, whoops, I shouldn't have done that. And that is a concept children can understand, not your sins. That certainly doesn't make sense for children, but to think about, could I have done something better? Is there a better way to do something? Children certainly can do that. And we're going to have a whole program of that, where we're having a family Tashlich experience. We're giving out Tashlich kits better. So here's our official part 2. Rosh Hashanah with family and friends. Now for me, I feel like I'm just aching for contact with people I love. But how do we do that? So, and the choices are we going to cram everything into one day? I mean, in the past, right, I would cook for a week and then everybody would come to my house and it would be very overwhelming. It doesn't really have to be like that. It could be over several days. What works in an outdoor setting? Like, does it have to be a formal dinner, or can you have a barbecue or a picnic? I have to say that with my family on Saturday or Sunday, depending on the weather, we're going to order a bunch of tuna hoagies and, tuna veggie hoagies, and we're going to hopefully sit outside and share a meal that way, because I don't have to serve individual, that's a great way to do it. Another great way to do it is to say, everybody come at such and such a time to a picnic. Bring your own. I don't have to do any of the cooking. Although you might consider, again, I'll make the chopped liver, you make the carrot salad. I don't know, whatever it is that you usually do. That's one way of doing it. A barbecue. I know a lot of people do a barbecue. Or you could have, now I have like a backyard, but it's not gigantic. So I'm thinking of having a timed party. I have one of those pop-up Z tents, and I'm like send out what time do you want? 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, because that way I don't have to worry about 12 or 20 people being in my yard all at once. And maybe you don't have that space anyway, but 2 people, another 2 people, or another 3 or 4 people, maybe I can manage that. So what works? Can you do, a drive-by something? Can you just drive? Not everybody will drive on the holiday itself, but the day before, the day after, can you just drive by and wave to people that you love? Hand deliver cards. I mean, it's a way of really seeing your friends and your family and honoring the holiday. Another thing I wanted to talk about was, now, I recognize that I talk really fast. And if you have a question, you got to stop me, because I will for sure just keep babbling away. There's something called a Rosh Hashanah Seder. Maybe you know of it. And aside from the apples and the honey and the round challah, there are other simanim. There are other, a siman is a sign, a symbol. Simanim are symbolic foods. And there are other symbolic foods. And I know it's hard to see these pictures, but there are carrots that we eat so that we say that our merits increase. And when we eat pomegranates, it's so that we do as many good deeds as there are seeds in the pomegranates. We eat beets so that our adversaries and all of our enemies will be removed from us. But you certainly can do your own simanim. You can, especially if you're having a picnic. What if you had an array of foods, grapes, guacamole, I don't know, whatever you have out there, and just ask people to imagine what that could be a symbol of for the new year. You could just make them up as you go along. maybe different people have different insights. You know, I'm going to eat an onion so that I could, you know, no one will come too close to me. Whatever it is, that's a really fun way to explore the holiday too. And I love to, look, I'm very big on gorgeous pictures, especially if I'm online, but also in person. And, you know, just to look at these gorgeous photographs. I'm sure you recognize the pomegranate. Gourds are another one of those symbolic foods. Leeks. Anybody ever see one of these? These are a fresh, it's one of the 7 species.
Filbert.
From Israel. They're not
Dates?
grapes. Yes, they're dates. Ding, 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 ding. Sherry, you win a prize. I don't really have a prize, but you would win it. Yes, they're sort of golden and juicy, and they're fantastic when they're right off a tree. I had one a couple of years ago. I had only ever seen it shriveled and looking rather, you know, cockroach-like, and I like them anyway. But that's what they look like.
What do the leeks symbolize?
Almost all of the symbols, and I'm going to share these things in our things with you anyway, but almost all of them are, let's see if I can, again, that our enemies be decimated. A lot of the symbols are so that, you know, we don't have, no enemies can hurt us. And then there's the head. There's usually a head of something. People often do the head of a fish or serve Swedish fish. And it really talks about so that we are, so that we can be the head and not the tail, that we can be leaders and not just follow blindly. Although there is a great saying from Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, that it's better to be the tail of a lion than the head of a fox. Meaning, you know, if you find somebody who is great to follow, it's okay to follow and be the tail rather than, you know, be a leader and join with somebody who's not, you know, a fox has a very bad reputation of being kind of sly and underhanded. Even way back in the time of rabbis. How do you like that? So I prepared a Kahoot bingo for you, a Kahoot game for you today. Does anyone know Kahoot? Do you know how to play Kahoot? Is this do we want to take the time to do that today? Should we see if we have time at the end? Your choice. Very short.
I think it would be fun, Lisa. Let's introduce it.
So,
Never heard of it.
Okay, so you are going to need to bring I will show this to you in a minute. Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you to go to kahoot.it.
Spell it.
Down a little bit. I'm going to show it to you. So it is Kahoot. www.kahoot.it. You do not need the app. I have used the free version. I'll just tell you that. And once you put in that number, if you put it on your phone and put in that number, thank you, Anna, you will be in the game. And the way the game is played, once I start the questions, you're going to need to put the answer into your phone. Great, Gabby's in. Is anyone having difficulty finding this?
Once we get to Kahoot, we press games or Kahoot?
You're going to go to www.kahoot.it.
Yep.
And it's going to ask you for your game pin.
I think you hit play and then it'll give you a space to put the number in.
Is there free online games? That's what I got.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And you do not need to download the app. Now you can create these games.
I'm not getting there. I'm sorry. So I'm at visit website.
Yes, visit website, kahoot.it.
So what, I was there, then it's taking me someplace else.
Okay, I'm gonna look it
It's
up on mine.
learning games for kids, right?
Yes, that's right. You're in the right place.
Let's see. Okay.
Visit website.
So as soon as I put it in, kahoot.it, I get this.
I'm not getting there. Oh boy.
No,
That's
me
I
neither.
I didn't do anything fancy. I just put in kahoot.it. It came right
Just
up.
put in kahoot.it. That's all, kahoot.it.
Barb,
And
does it say?
something should pop up that asks you for your game pin.
No.
I'm getting search ads, kahoot.it. It says games, Kahoot. Do I press on games or do I press on Kahoot or yeah, it's not work.
So we're gonna play this game.
Back to school with YouTube?
No, just start all over again and go to kahoot.it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Just
did that.
kahoot.it.
Yeah, I'm getting the same thing as Margie. Yeah, and then you get a list of games, Kahoot.
Right.
Does it say play?
No.
So when I do it, it just pops up.
You know what? I spelled it wrong. I spelled it with the C.
Okay, so KAHOOT
Yeah. Okay.
.it.
That's better. Okay.
Yeah, but I still am not. Wait, what?
And then do you press enter or do you have to download the app or
You
what?
do not have to download the app. It's going to say game pin, and you're going to put that number 9960781 into your phone.
Okay. Oops.
So, Sheva,
Yep.
I'm going to play the game. You can watch it. And then after we're done, I'll work with you to make sure that you can figure out how to do it.
I think they want me to download the app, but do I press?
Do not download the app.
Okay. Nickname? Do I have a nickname?
Put it in.
Sure.
Okay.
They want me to download. I can't get out of download the app.
Okay.
That's what's
So for
wrong.
now, we're going to play the game.
Okay.
And then I promise I will stay on with you to make sure that you can do this if you would like to do it with your family. Okay?
I'm in.
Okay.
You
Awesome.
got it, Chef?
Yeah.
Wow.
Here we
It's
go.
with a K. That's what I
But
do.
you can still look and think. Just don't call out the answers because the
Okay.
answers are going to go on your phone. Ready? Here we go. We're starting the game. It's our Rosh Hashanah quiz show. Rosh Hashanah is Hebrew for heads or tails, head of the year, head and heart, headaches. And you will look at your phone and click on the color that you find is appropriate for the answer.
Is it letting me?
Okay. It is indeed the head of the year. All right. Woohoo. An early lead by Shira, who clearly got that very quickly. Next
I got it, but not soon enough. Okay.
Part of a traditional greeting says, may you be inscribed into the Book of Prayers, the Great Brisket Cookbook, the Book of Mormon, the Book of Life. Wow. That was very fast.
I know.
What happened there? There was like 0 seconds. Okay, well.
Well, on my iPad, I'm not seeing any of the words. I'm only seeing it on my phone, but only the iPad's working. It's very interesting.
Me too. I
Okay,
can't
true
do
or false? Rabbis make sure that, wait a second, Rosh Hashanah always occurs in September. True or false? Oh, because everybody answered. That's why it does that. Oh, you guys are quick. Okay, correct. That is false. We never know when it's going to show up. 1 year it could be in February. No, that could not happen. Okay, next. We dip apples and honey to celebrate the fall harvest, help you stick to your resolutions, wish each other a sweet year, or attract late summer bees?
I thought it would help you stick to your diet.
To help you stick to your diet. That could be it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Anna, you are quickly coming up. All right, here we go. Number 5, this shofar blast wake us up and remind us to atone. The earliest shofars were made of unicorn horns, ram horns, car horns, or bull horns. Wow, okay, everybody got that. That's amazing. You can see that some of, wait, here. Shira, you're on fire. Here we go, 6. Many people wear white on the holidays because it's often hot outside to represent cream cheese. So you don't need to match your clothes or to represent purity and renewal. And to learn how to spell, obviously. Okay, great, purity and renewal. And our last question for today. Oh, Shira, look out. I'm going to have to like send you something. And the last question of today, Uncle Ira's favorite holiday food is Aunt Marlene's brisket, Lisa's chopped liver, Mom's matzo ball soup, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Yes, correct. That is correct. So you can see, let's see who won, even though I think we know. Gabby, you were right up there. Anna, working on it. And number 1, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
Adorable.
Kahoot.it. All right.
Okay, so
Lisa,
yes,
so it's www.kahoot.it
correct,
for family and friends.
correct.
Okay.
And with a
And-
K, that was my problem. That's what I didn't do.
No, I did with a K and I still had the problem. Yeah.
So if you wanted to do this, look, I clearly created this game to make it not difficult. So that
Very good.
you could participate and that some of it's silly and you can upload your own pictures into it. It can be about members of the family like Uncle Ira, who is my brother and I adore him. He's a great guy. And so you can really make it to whatever age is appropriate. And if you have like, you know, people who are really knowledgeable, then just look stuff up and make it much harder.
Great. It's great.
Very nice. It's great. I love it.
So another thing that you can do, and I will share my screen again, sorry, is to play holiday bingo. And it's the same idea. And I did this with myfreebingocards.com. And you can make your own. These are all words. You can't do this necessarily with images, but you know, they will make 30 bingo cards for you, and you can play it online, or you could download them and print them and mail them to your family and friends and play bingo together. That's a really fun thing to do, and you can make it with a free space if you want, or not a free space. You know, there may be sites that do it with imagery, but this is the first one I found, and it was pretty easy and fun.
Very good.
Cards.com. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, freebingocards.com.
Free.
I think, right?
Or did you say my free?
It is myfreebingocards.com. And I'm just going to send you all this information anyway. This is all on my notes. So
Oh, that's great.
I'm gonna
Thank
send
you.
everything to you. Another thing you could do inexpensively is get like photo booth stuff. And if you want to take a family portrait, and you know, instead of just like whatever, you could have people like do the crazy like hats, noses, whatever. This one happens to come with a frame already framed. So you could do things like that. You can play charades and act things out. I just played a really fun version of charades where one person gets sent into the waiting room and everybody else acts out what the action is. So let's try it. I'm going to send Gabby into the waiting room. How do I do that? Let's see. How do I do it? Let's see. Well, I think I can't do it while I'm sharing. Can you do it? No, how could you put yourself?
Can I send myself? You know what, Lisa? Maybe if you stop sharing your screen.
I will. I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I actually could have done it that way. Now I saw how to do it. But anyway. Okay, so. Let's see. How do I do this?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that, Lisa.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I can do it. I wonder if.
It's like a breakout room?
Gabby, it's because you're a co-host.
Oh.
So would anybody volunteer then to go into the waiting room for a moment?
Sure.
Okay, Barbara, you're going into the waiting room for a moment. Now, don't do anything. I will bring you back, okay?
You promise.
I will absolutely bring you back. I promise. Don't touch anything. Don't push any buttons. Just wait there and I'll be right back. Okay, so what we are going to act out is rescuing a cat from a tree. And when she comes back into the room, I'm going to say ready, set, go. And we will all do that. She has to look at all of our pictures and see if she can figure out what we are trying to act out. Okay, got it? All right, here we go. I'm going to bring her back in. Let's make sure she's here. Okay, Barbara, at the count of 3, we are going to start acting out this thing. You're going to look at all of our pictures and see if you can figure out what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, go.
Can I see anybody else? I can't see anybody else.
You can't see anybody else?
You, Lisa. Do I?
Wait, unspotlight me. Wait, maybe I'm spotlighted. Am I spotlighted?
Oh, maybe she doesn't have
Hit gallery view.
Are you in gallery view? That's an important point.
Oh, gallery
That was our warm-up, Lisa. That was just our warm-up rehearsal.
Okay, wait. Who's got gallery view?
Not on my phone. I don't know where.
Okay. Who's got gallery view that is willing to do this?
Sorry.
Shira's going.
All right, Shira. I guess this is your prize, Shira. Okay. I'm going to put you in. We're going to have to do something different. Okay. I will be right back. Okay. Who's got another thing to act out? It should be like
No, Barbara's still here.
Like that.
No, it was Shira.
Okay. You're in. That's okay, Barbara. You're in a rowboat, and it gets a hole, and you are frantically trying to bail the water out of the rowboat. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna let her back in. Okay, Shira. When we count to 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. You have to unmute so we can hear your guesses.
This is good exercise.
I guess fishing.
What are your guesses? Can you guess anything?
Fishing, rowing a boat.
Yes.
And pouring water out of the boat.
Yes. Why?
The boat is sinking. It's
right.
Right.
Okay. So, you can see that could be a fun thing to do with your family on Zoom.
So what were you doing? Licking a lollipop for mine? What I don't know what.
Well, we were rescuing a cat from a tree. I was being the cat. So they're good if they're complicated things so that you can see all kinds of different things.
You could do holiday related, right? We could
certainly could do.
Oh, that's good.
You're baking a challah or something like that.
Making matzo balls. Oh, that's great.
Now, the truth is there are also plenty of charades games online that you can also play, virtually, that you don't have to do anything. But it would be great to come up with those different holiday related things, right? Tashliach, throwing your breadcrumbs into the water.
Right.
And, if you're outside with a group of people, they can be really elaborate, like you're throwing breadcrumbs and a wild duck starts to chase you around the pond. I mean, the funny thing is, if you have like a large thing to act out, then everybody is doing a different portion of the action, and it's hilarious. So that's really fun. And another is a kind of seek and find, like go find a, I was on a webinar yesterday where somebody said, go find 2 different pair of shoes. And then when people came back, one person was chosen and they said, okay, tell us why you might need to wear these 2 different shoes at any given time. So the thing is not to just have somebody go and find something and bring it back, but then ask a question and, spotlight that person and put them on the Jumbotron and ask them to do something. Okay, so now we are officially at part 3, which is how are we doing Rosh Hashanah at home with your kids? Some of these things are serious, some of them not so much. And I'm going to go through these fairly quickly because I see that we're sort of running out of time. So if we're thinking about new beginnings and a clean slate, a great thing to do is to set goals with your family and really think about what is one thing that your family might like to do together in the future. Is there a mitzvah you want to do together? Is there, or like a thing that you've never done that you want to do, like go camping? Our family's never done that before. Can we do that? Like, what is a thing that you could, a goal that you can set? We talked a little bit before about introspection and new perspectives. And one way to really think about that is to bring an assortment of mirrors. Look at mirrors, distortion mirrors, magnifying mirrors, foil that reflects, looking in something like glass that's on the wall and how that reflects, getting a prism and looking through a prism and how that changes perspective, or those like bug eye lenses where, you change it and you can see like 100 images of something. How does that change the way you look at something? There's also in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Ancestors, there's something that says, turn it and turn it, for everything is in it. And it's really talking about the Torah and that we continue to turn it and turn it. But when we think about different ways to look at something, can you turn it to find a new way, like those magic eye puzzles or an I Spy book? Sometimes when you turn something around, you find a new way to look at it. And that's a great thing to explore with children on the holiday. Another theme of the holiday is noticing growth and accomplishments of the previous year. So a great time to look at your size charts or to get like your kid's favorite outfit from last year and compare it to this year and see if last year's clothes is small. Another thing might be to go through closets with your kids and take out all the things that are too small and give them to tzedakah, unless you have a younger child at home. But think about ways to sort of move on from something. And the other thing is to think about all the skills that a child's accomplished. Did they learn how to ride a scooter? Did they just start college? I know we have a wide range of ages here with children and grandchildren. What are the things they accomplished this year? And what are some of the new skills that they would like to learn this year? I want to learn to hop on one foot. I want to learn to speak Japanese, like whatever the age group of your children or grandchildren, like really think about what skills I can accomplish. We spoke earlier about, birthday of the world, and certainly decorating and eating cupcakes or even baking if you're not, very observant on the day. Whatever works for you. I don't, I respect whatever your choices are, but certainly birthday celebrations are fun, but also to think about what is a renewed commitment you could have to something that helps the world. What world-saving activity? What if you became world superheroes? What would that look like? Maybe you could all strike a superhero pose and really think about, how we're helping the world. What is the gift that you want to give to the world? What would the world like? What do you think the world needs? And that's certainly a conversation you can have with much older children as well as, you know, little children. Now, little children might say, you know, things that they like, but that's okay too. Like that's an exercise in empathy. What would the world like? What would people in the world like? Another very important part of the holiday is the shofar and hearing 100 blasts of the shofar. And, you know, I kind of put that together with this concept, again, from Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Ancestors. I happen to love that little text. I talk about it a lot. The concept of saying 100 blessings every day. And so this concept of 100 is a big one. And maybe you could do counting with young children, counting Legos, counting popsicle sticks in sets of 10. And then for each set of 10, maybe even throughout the day or over a period of 2 days, like make a noise for each one of them, or think of a blessing for each one of them. And maybe they can all be like different. If you're doing 10 sets of 10, it's maybe making 10 noises or learning the sounds of the shofar. Maybe it's 10 things that I could do to help my neighbors, 10 foods that I love to eat that I'm grateful for eating, you know, just like a series of 10 so that you can get to 100 of something. It's really fun to learn how to blow a shofar. We were talking about that today and what the sounds are and what they mean. And so the sounds of the shofar is, it's an alarm, to do, tekiah. It's like a wake up, you know, pay attention. It's really about pay attention to what's going on, and how fun for very little kids to pretend they're sleeping and you blow the shofar and wake them up, and vice versa. Let them wake you up with the sounds of the shofar. And the shavarim, the 3 blasts, do, sounds a little bit like crying, you know, because we're thinking of not necessarily mistakes we made. Children can't like really process the fact that, oh, you know, I made a mistake, but just that it's a break. It means to break, and that it's breaking open your soul. It's just this idea that it's time to like open yourselves up to new ideas and new thoughts. And the teruah, which is 9 or more blasts, is really, that's like, it's the immediacy. I have to do this now. I can't really put it off. What are the things I need to pay attention to right now? How often do we say, yeah, I'll do it later? I'm a big one with that, but that's what the teruah is asking us to do, like right now. And the tekiah gedola, that you know, really holding it, is such it's a big sound, and it's a gathering, and it's an acknowledgement of the momentousness of the occasion. So what's the big, important idea that you or your child have that you can talk about? But may you be inscribed. We talked about may you be inscribed in the book for a good year. Reading books, that's always good, reading good books. Or if you have older children, you can learn calligraphy, beautiful calligraphy. Here's a fun fact to know and tell. Did you know that Torah ink is made from a wasp nest? So certain wasps live in trees, and they bore a hole and into a nut, and then it hardens, and it's called a gall nut. And then that's boiled and turned into Torah ink. Who knew? And then lastly, there are games, because we can't be serious all the time. I certainly can't be serious all the time. You can play apple and honey tic-tac-toe. You can, oh, I have these things that are, were made to, you know, it's like really for drawers to put your socks in. But of course, to me, it looks like a honeycomb. And I love to talk about bees because they're a community, a strong community. But this would be fun to like toss things into, or do color matching, or like do relay races. You know, walk around, greet people, and just say Shana Tova to everyone outside. Or hide and seek with ritual objects. You can also do, guess what's in this bag? There's a stand part, and then there's a round part that we put things in. Can anyone guess what it is? Shira, where are you when I need you? It is a
Apple
miniature.
peeler. An apple peeler?
No, I don't. It's a miniature Kiddush cup, actually.
Oh.
But you could do that in person and certainly online. And you could do a hide and seek. You know, if I hid it somewhere, instead of saying hot, 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 or cold, 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 you could do sweeter, 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 sour, 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 something like that. Anyway, so lots of really fun things to do. So now I will ask you in the 1 minute that we have left, what is one adaptation that you might try from all the things we did today? Can you think of one thing that you might try to do?
We have a lot of things.
And while you're thinking, I will.
A Kahoot. I think that's going to
You
work.
want to try Kahoot? Again,
Yeah.
I'll stay on
Yeah,
to
me
teach
too.
anyone how to get to the Kahoot afterwards.
I got it.
I will tell you that Sunday, September 13th is a family Tashlich experience. And Tuesday, September 22nd, this is such a beautiful thing. This is also an adults only program. It's with a very talented and brilliant woman named Rabbi Amy Grossblatt Pessa, who wrote a spectacular book. Now I'm not going to think of the book. What is it called?
No, I want to say parenting with prayer, Lisa. It's
Parenting with prayer. Or parenting on a prayer. Anyway, she uses inspiration from the Siddur, and she tells stories, and it's a warm and a lovely book. And she will be talking to us about how you find blessings in this crazy time. And she'll be doing that between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Woo! So I want to say thank you, and thank you for staying with me. I know that I talk quite a bit. I will, as I say, send you resources, pictures, links.
Thank you. That's great.
To other things, more games. Anyway, so.
Well, we have to do, the whole grandchildren thing really with our grandkids from LA. So I really wanted to make it fun, and because, normally they just come to our house for dinner and run around with all their cousins.
Right.
Have to do that much other than apples and honey and, the prayers, whatever. So
I'm going to say an official goodbye and thank you, and then we can stop the recording.
Okay.